Municipal waste comes from a variety of sources, the principal source being what we put out in our dustbins each week. However, we shouldn't forget that in some areas, 20% of municipal waste is delivered to civic amenity sites by residents, and increasing proportions are collected through recycling schemes and at recycling centres. So let's look at the ways in which waste is collected. Wheelie bins are now commonplace. They have many advantages over refuse sacks or conventional dustbins. The contents are protected from dogs, cats and wildlife. Heavy items don't break the containers. They can be moved and emptied without the need for lifting. The collection crew are protected from injuries from glass and sharp items. Wheelie bins are also ideal for collecting garden and kitchen waste for composting, and they can be used to collect mixed recyclable material. Some local authorities use a specially designed vehicle and sort the recyclable materials as they're collected. Curbside sorting takes longer than merely collecting the waste and so is more expensive. On the other hand, the subsequent processing at a materials reclamation facility is simplified and therefore cheaper, and the scheme can be used to collect glass. In this scheme in South Northamptonshire, householders are given a recycling box which is emptied weekly. One week it's used for cans and plastics, and the next it's used for paper and glass, which is sorted by colour. When necessary, the side of the truck is raised and the content is tipped into compartments within the body of the vehicle. Civic amenity sites are used to collect any wastes that householders produce that can't be disposed of via conventional bins. DIY and garden activities result in much of the input to such sites, but old furniture and electrical appliances are also collected in large quantities. These sites divert a significant amount of their input for recycling, especially the segregated garden waste for composting. Scrap metal, soil, building rubble and oil are also recovered at these sites. Non-recyclable waste is sent to landfill or incineration. Waste that can't be disposed of without further treatment, such as car batteries, tyres and fridges, are taken to specialist companies for treatment. Recycling banks have been a feature of our landscape for many years. Initially, they were used almost exclusively to collect glass. However, nowadays banks can be used to collect paper, cans, plastics and textiles. Bank sites are generally environmentally benign, but they can attract vandals and litter which needs to be collected. And finally, sites must be located where noise is unlikely to be a problem, as is the case here. Materials reclamation facilities, MRFs for short, are on the increase. This plant is typical in respect to the technology involved and the environmental impact. Mixed recyclable materials are collected through the local curbside scheme in a conventional refuse collection vehicle. On arrival at the MRF, the load is discharged into an undercover tipping area. It's then transferred onto the main feed conveyor by means of a mechanical loading shovel. In this acoustically hard building, it's extremely noisy and dust levels can also be high. As the feed enters the sorting area, it's inspected. Any closed bags are opened and large pieces of cardboard and plastic are removed. At this stage, any non-recyclable material is removed before it can contaminate the product or present any further health risk to the staff. Again, the noise levels are very high. The next separation process is carried out automatically. The material flows onto a vibrating inclined table with a Velcro-like surface which holds the larger pieces of paper, separating them from the remaining material, mainly plastics and cans. The stream containing the cans is then passed under a magnetic separator that removes any ferrous metal. Aluminium and any plastics are then removed from this stream by hand. The remaining material is sent for incineration or landfill. Once separated, the cans, plastic and paper are compressed and baled into cubes so as to maximise the available space on the lorries that take them on their onward journey to the recycling plant. Glass is an exception. Although it's delivered to the MRF direct from the bottle bank scheme, no sorting takes place. It's only stored temporarily until there's a sufficient quantity to fill a large truck, whereupon it's shipped to the glassworks. There's just two final points. Firstly, the MRF is just one stage in the recycling process. It's where the material is sorted prior to reprocessing. And lastly, some local authorities use a dedicated vehicle where some sorting takes place at the curbside. This option involves higher collection costs, but requires a less complex and therefore cheaper MRF.